Hello, Keller, Second Ward. Happy Easter Eve. Good to be with you. I was going to write down a bunch of things for you, and I thought, well, I'll just do another video really quickly and let you know what's going on. We met as a bishopric as bishops in the stake presidency on Thursday, and so there's a couple things that the stake president wanted me to pass on to you. And then I want to talk a little bit about Easter and next week. So we'll just get right into it. First of all, for tomorrow, sacrament. A lot of people have been asking questions. Should we do the sacrament to others? Should we not? Certainly what happens in your home is up to you. If you've got a worthy priesthood holder, please feel free to go forward. If somebody wants the sacrament and desires that we bring it to their home, here are the rules that President Kleeman has published. First of all, both parties need to be mutually in agreement that they're one, want the sacrament and want somebody in their home, and then two, they want the person that is going to do it needs to be willing to go into the home. So there needs to be a willingness on both parties. We need to pay special attention and do the best we can on social distancing. And then number three is we need to make sure that we are as sanitary as possible in doing the sacrament, which we would always do anyway. So if somebody would like the sacrament, go ahead. If they're willing to have you in the home, and if you're willing to go, certainly it is totally appropriate to say, no, I just don't feel comfortable doing that. But that's the direction from the stake president on this particular one. Tomorrow we will not have ward council. Bishopric, we won't have any meetings. It's Easter. We'll resume all of those meetings, which is bishopric and ward council and priests getting together and priest quorum presidency. All those things that we do every Sunday, we'll start those next Sunday again. I really like doing those, but no meetings tomorrow. As far as Come Follow Me, it's a great week. I really like what the church did. So this week has been all about studying Easter-related themes in the Book of Mormon, which basically boils down to two key books. Alma, chapter 7, is where the mission of Jesus Christ is discussed, and then Alma, chapter 11, is where Abinadi talks about the resurrection and what that means. So those are great chapters. And then 3rd Nephi, chapters 11 and 17 have to do with the Savior's ministry in the Americas. Obviously, he's been resurrected by then. So those four chapters, if you're going to study as a family, Come Follow Me, and hit the Easter themes in the Book of Mormon, it's Alma 7 and 11 and 3rd Nephi 11 and 17. Additionally, Glenn did a great talk. If you haven't had a chance to listen to it, you should. It's really, really good. He took a lot of time to do it really well. And so take a listen to his talk. And then tomorrow morning, Karen and I did a little podcast on all the key events of Easter. So we'll share that with you tomorrow. We're just finishing it up with the guy that does my podcast. And so we'll have a podcast for you to share with your family about the key pieces of Easter, and you'll get that tomorrow morning. So that's kind of this week and a little bit of next week. Ministering, very, 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 very important still. Please keep ministering to your families, checking in on them, particularly now that, we're obviously in tune with the health concerns of COVID-19, but also the economic concerns. Stake president is very concerned about that, as we all should be. And so the question that he wanted to have us ask as we converse with everybody is, how long can you go if you lost your job or if you've been furloughed? And there are people in our stake that have been furloughed. How long can you go before you start dipping into savings, into 401ks and things like that? Obviously, the longer the better, but everybody's in a different situation. So if it's getting a little scary and a little dicey, I certainly want to know about it and see what we can do to help. Fast offerings are really, really important. President Kleeman asked that we take a look at our fast offerings, and if there's anything more that you feel comfortable doing, that we should do it. We believe that we will need it as the economic concerns of the virus start to come into play more and more. So that's obviously between you and the Lord, just like tithing and all the other offerings that you give. But do consider fast offerings, and don't forget about fast offerings. Missionaries. Wow. Missionaries, what an update. That was a good hunk of what we spent our time on. In the last few weeks, we have had 32 missionaries come back from our stake. 22 of those have completed their service, and then there are 10 that are going to return to service as soon as they can. We have one of those 10 in Grant Russo, and I'm talking to Grant quite often and using him for different things within the priest quorum, but he's the one that's kind of in this middle ground as far as wanting to go back, having enough time to be able to go back. And so keep him in your prayers. All of our returning missionaries, keep them in our prayers, but ours so far are safe. The next one that comes home is Grace Temple at the end of April. It's been really, really cool. One of the things that I've done is I've done a Zoom video with all of the returned missionaries with the exception of the Honeycutts, and I will do the Honeycutts. So I Zoom video them and I recorded it, and I'll share those with you this next week. I'll start sharing some of those because I've got all 4 of those that returned home on video. Then the last thing is, this is the kind of the cool part, is we have 9 missionaries in the stake that have accepted assignments and are waiting to report either virtually or if they're a little further out, perhaps to Provo or whatever MTC that they've been assigned to. But our three of those 9 that have calls are in our ward. So if you haven't heard, it's really exciting. Maddie Russo is going to Vancouver in early July. Audrey Horn has been called to Jacksonville. I think she's mid-July. And then Chase Christopherson is going to El Salvador in early June, which will be very interesting to see how that goes, especially since we just pulled missionaries out of El Salvador. But the missionary calls are still coming. The brethren are working on them and sending out new calls. So we have those 3 missionaries from our ward that will replace essentially the 4 that have come home. I guess the 5 when you count Grace coming home at the end of this month. So the missionary work is going on. It's hard. Pray for those missionaries that are all by themselves out there in their apartments, or they're not by themselves with their companions. It's getting a little boring for them, but they're doing the very best that they can. And like all of us, they're beginning to adjust quite well. Institute happens for the YSA ward and the younger folks every Thursday at 7 p.m. They have a Zoom meeting. If you don't have that meeting notification and you need it, let me or John know and we'll get it to you. But that's every Thursday at 7 p.m. We talked about fast offerings already. Let's see if there's anything else that I missed here, just looking at my list. Social distancing, ward council, ministering. Okay, I think that's it. Thank you very much. It was great to be out on the trail this morning. Karen and I went for a walk, and we saw the Castermans, and we saw the Burks, and we saw friends, and we socially distanced, and it was different, but it was nice. Please follow the laws that are in place, the rules that are in place in our county, in our state, in our country. Let's be respectful of that. This social distancing is important. It matters. We don't want to, I think we're doing what we need to do, and obviously we don't want to relapse, or we don't want things to get worse in the state of Texas and in the cities of Keller and Southlake and Westlake that we live in. I love you. I miss you. Have a great Easter. It's my favorite holiday of all. I know that Karen and I have got plans to do all of this remotely with our family and everything else as best that we can. But Easter is a special time. It is the most Christian of holidays. So God love you. God be with you. And we'll talk to you soon. Thank you very much.